Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to avoid censorship. Decentralization is the path to freedom against censorship and all sorts of authoritarianism. And I'm going to be speaking to a special guest who's talking about a new project that's going to support us in that. So hold on for that.
Take the first step towards online privacy. Get NordVPN.
Apollo have produced the ultimate hardware wallet for your cryptocurrency assets, probably the most secure hardware wallet going. Use my affiliate link and the code for a discount. Hey, Akeem, thank you so much for making yourself available. You are one of the co-founders of Script.tv, right?
Yeah, that's right. How you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. And for those of you that are watching, because most of my viewers are from the US, you will notice that Akeem and I, we both have British accents and we both drink tea. Right? All you Americans. So I'm thrilled to be talking to another Briton.
Right. Well, we should be having tea right now, actually.
That's right. We should be having tea. Perhaps later when we go around to Buckingham Palace for a cup of tea with the Queen.
Of course. Every Saturday, every Monday. That's what we do.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So, Akeem, do you want to say a little bit about just a teeny bit about yourself, and then we'll start talking about Script.tv?
Yeah, sure. So, as we said, my name is Akeem. So, my background's really in the food industry, building a food company that I built up to 3,500 to 4,000 stores worldwide, whilst obviously doing some blockchain and crypto consulting within the industry. I also then had an ownership position, just under 30% of a sports content company, which I then started to produce and direct content pieces, whether it's small brand packages like documentaries or adverts for large brands and large content companies around the world and studios, which obviously led me into the business that obviously we're in now, which is Script Network, alongside, of course, our great team. So yeah, that's kind of a brief general view of what I've been doing over the last 6 to 7 years.
Right.
But yeah, generally been in crypto for just over 5 years now myself.
Okay, so you're a successful entrepreneur who's run a series of companies successfully. You've been in crypto for about 5 years, and now you're setting up this blockchain, this crypto project, which is Script.tv. So what is Script.tv? But by the way, you don't look old enough to have been in crypto and run those companies.
Yeah, I mean, well, when I say in crypto, it's a great question. When I was in crypto, so to speak, that's just me dabbling in crypto and kind of understanding it from a perspective of buying and trading, right? So not so much doing anything more than buying some Ethereum, buying some Bitcoin back 4 or 5 years ago. But certainly I'm a lot older than you think, Rich. But generally speaking, yeah, what brought us to Script Network, I guess it was really just solving a huge problem that we found in the industry from, firstly, myself being in the industry from a content perspective, kind of being on the other side over the last couple of years and understanding that there were so many issues with like a user experience, but also from a content perspective, that if I had a piece of content, how do I distribute it? How do I get it out there without putting it just on YouTube or Dailymotion or Vimeo? How do I get it out to the hundreds of thousands or millions of people when you have production quality content? So we wanted to solve that problem, and we also wanted to break down those barriers through obviously decentralization and blockchain, and that's really where Script Network kind of came from.
Okay, now is Script TV something like YouTube? Is that how it's going to work?
No, great question. No, it's live television on blockchain. So the easiest way to explain it is it will be like Sky, or it will be like TiVo, or it will be like any of your other set-top boxes that has multiple different channels when you turn on the TV, where you can watch sports TV channels, you can watch film channels, you can watch documentary channels. That will be what Script TV is, but on blockchain. So you'll have an option when you go onto Script.tv to watch 30 plus channels curated, scheduled, completely live, completely free, from thousands of hours of different content from the likes of sports, documentaries, films, and what have you. So it's an opportunity basically to watch TV as you know it, but on blockchain and obviously completely for free.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so that makes it different. So something like YouTube, Theta TV, DLive, BitTube, Odyssey, Library, they are, I suppose, I can upload on any of those.
Yeah.
And anybody can watch, but I can't upload say on the BBC or on Sky or on CNN.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yours is more like
absolutely.
a decentralized BBC, is that right?
100%. So ours is more like a decentralized Sky or decentralized TiVo or decentralized, a set-top box provider which has multiple channels. They work with hundreds of different production houses or tens of production houses and studios, and that's what we're doing. So whereas a lot of the companies that you just mentioned, they focus on user-generated content, and they also focus more on aggregation. So I could upload on YouTube and it will go on to with a simple button press or for an API, I can pull it on 5 or 6 different similar networks or platforms. This is completely different. It's completely selective in terms of the production partners we work with. And with that, we bring in those thousands of hours of content, whether it's from, an Oscar-winning film, whether it's from, some legacy content of 60s movies or 50s movies, and then we bundle it and we create a schedule from scratch, and then we actually create our own channels with that, which means obviously from a user perspective, they simply go on, they have those channels and their choices, and then they have live content of those pieces every single hour or every single minute when they want to watch it. No rewinds, no pausing, no on demand. It's completely live, just like as you know it on a set-top box.
Okay, but what's the advantage of that? Because I can see all sorts of advantages apart from the censorship of YouTube. Right? But let's say Odyssey or BitTube, where I post, by the way, so you should be watching this on those platforms.
Cheeky plug.
Because those are on demand. I can watch them whenever I want. I can interact. I can set up my own channel. What's the advantage of a TV? I mean, to be honest, I don't watch terrestrial or satellite TV anymore. I waste enough time on screens anyway. So why do it that way?
Well, I mean, what's the advantage? Do you mean for the content partners or do you mean for the users?
For users.
Okay. Well, for users, great question. I think legacy content still has, set-top boxes, as we know it, watching TV, it still has a place in a lot of people's lives. And the reality is most people, when through surveyed, the reason why they don't watch those pieces of content on there is because of accessibility or because they don't want to maybe sit in front of their TV 24/7 to watch it. Whereas we are simply taking that experience and decentralizing it and bringing that experience to your phone or to your TV set or to your laptop whenever you want to. Of course, beyond that, there's a range of benefits because it's decentralized and because we built it on our own blockchain, where users can, of course, earn a lot more than simply watching a cool film or a cool TV show. So they can earn tokens for simply watching content. They can win rewards. They can win giveaways. And more so, of course, with that, it's also layered so they can, of course, chat with friends or other like-minded people during those shows from that perspective. So it's kind of multi-layered from that perspective, and it's really focused on improving the user's experience for premium content because that's the area that we're focusing on from that perspective at the moment.
All right, as you were talking, I was thinking about the Coen Brothers movies. I'm a big fan of the Coen Brothers. So I would watch their films for free. And I'm not saying that Coen Brothers movies are going to be on Script TV. Anybody who's watching this, I'm not saying that at all. I have no idea, right? But to be paid to watch their films, there's a definite attraction for that. And then I can see for the content creators, if people are going to be paid to turn up to watch their films, then they've got a guaranteed audience as well. So I can see the advantage of that, right? But
absolutely. Doesn't
blockchain have disadvantages? How are you going to store all this data on the blockchain?
Perfect. Yeah, great question. No, a complete opposite. It's an exciting way that this is one of the things that we also want to focus on bringing exposure to the industry of how you can shift to blockchain technology and you can actually make it not just more resourceful and more efficient, but also save a ton of money as well. So we can actually store it through IPFS. So what we do is we, again, without being too technical, we carry the content from the production houses to AWS, and then we use an AWS bin and then transfer it over to IPFS and that's where it's stored. So it's completely stored on blockchain, and it's actually for benefit of that, because it allows us to transfer and actually export and update our schedule quickly and freely, rather than dealing with lumpy storage or servers that other businesses in a traditional media space have to deal with. So right. I think what's really clear, what we're doing here is being the shift, the shape shifting change of this industry. It's a really luggy, slow industry. I'm sure you know. I know you know your films by talking about the Coen brothers, and it's a very lumpy industry that unfortunately is quite slow to adopt and quite slow to make change.
Yeah.
And obviously over the last 3 to 4 months, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I say 3 to 4 months, 3 to 4 weeks. There's been huge changes in Hollywood where they're shifting to blockchain. You have Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. They own a production company that's now said we're no longer going to be funding our films or our TV shows through traditional media. We're now going to do it through NFTs and crypto. So they've now raised $5 or $6 million within half an hour through NFTs completely. And obviously people who own those NFTs will now be able to own a part of the content from that perspective, or somewhat. I'm being overseen. Again, one more example. Anthony Hopkins is now funding his newest film completely through crypto, through blockchain technology. So this is now becoming a point of when Hollywood or traditional media is waking up to this fact that actually our old way that's been working for 100 years is actually now starting to fail based on the way users want to experience content. And simply, like you just said, look, you're watching a piece of content, you're watching 7-8 hours of content. People want to feel like they've not wasted 8 hours binge watching a show. They want to feel like okay, cool, look, I really like this show, but at least I made it, a couple of quid. At least I made some money out of that last 8 hours. At least I, won some giveaways or rewards, or maybe at least some benefits. So we wanted to just change and shift that user experience, and we also wanted to obviously make sure from a media perspective that we are being the huge shape shifters to Web 3.0, because what's happening currently right now is dying and soon to fail.
Yep. No, I think decentralization has a very, very promising future. It's way more robust. So I agree with you there on this. And I didn't know about what was happening in Hollywood, but that's really exciting. And it is, I suppose, like with all new innovations, people come over quickly. I remember, was it David Bowie? David Bowie, when the internet came out, he even launched his own ISP or something, but he was really quick into using the internet and the web compared to other artists and stuff. And then they have a following and people go along with them. Okay. Now, we will get into the tokenomics, but I want to go a little bit into the blockchain, because I understand that your coins, because they have their own blockchain. It's not an ERC20, it's not BET20, it's not a Tron asset, nor is it built on Bitcoin, I hope, because that would be way too slow. So you're setting up this decentralized TV, to compete with centralized TV channels like CNN and BBC. But they have a lot of money. They have they have corporate power behind them. They have advertising revenue. They have deep pockets and connections with the film industry and the TV industry. How are you going to compete with them?
Oh, great question.
That's not too
it's a great question. Quite easily, actually, to be honest with you. We're really confident. I think with regards to the traditional industry, we know that studios have hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's just talking about per month, let alone per year. And we know how much they can spend on content. But it's one of the reasons why we wanted to really build a technology-first business, a business that is built to last for Web 3.0, a business that regardless of how much content they have or how much their existing user base of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users they have, they still do not have the protocol that allows users to earn money. They still don't have the protocol to allow full decentralization in terms of content, as well as the freedom for users to perform and connect with others from that perspective. So we still wanted to build up on things that gives us that small man advantage, so to speak. But of course, in terms of content, they're going to be the giants and they'll remain the giants for some years to come. But there's, television is, of course, television and film is one of the largest industries in the world, just in terms of accessibility and penetration. So there is clearly a significant importance and need for a decentralized and Web 3.0 version of ultimately a large TV network and broadcast network. And we obviously plan to do that.
Okay. And then what about regulatory issues and issues of censorship? If you're decentralized, I mean, you and I are both based in the UK. So I imagine, if the company is registered in the UK, it's going to be, it's got to follow the rules of Ofcom. If you're in the US, whatever the organization is there, but then you're decentralized. How
I mean, the thing is that there's regulations. The first regulation issues that I wouldn't want to use the term regulation, but the first kind of you could say legal or general issue that we have come across that we of course already was aware that we would have is geo-locking and content that is allowed in certain locations and illegal in others, but legal in others, etc. And that's something that we have to be very careful about. And of course, we have to then create geo-locks and have accessibility opportunities for some based on location and others elsewhere. That is something that we can only have as a broad standpoint on location within our network and our platform. And we're, of course, constantly trying to figure out ways to make that 100% decentralized. But of course, within legal restrictions, there is things like that is a slight problem. And it's always been a problem in the industry, just like how, you and I in London, for some reason, can't watch, a video on Twitter that is online. It would just say, not available in this region. And we're working hard with our team to try to figure out a way to make that completely decentralized long term. We understand that's going to be a long fight, but certainly for now, we will have a very general geo-locking placement on content based on obviously location, depending on where the person is. And that's not going to shift their experience at all. They're just going to have more localized content, and they're going to have content that is fit maybe for their language, maybe for their location, which is just going to give them a better experience anyway in the end of the day. So we're constantly figuring that out. But that's really the key blocker and the regulation barrier that we've dealt with so far.
Okay, and then there's something else with regards to decentralization and centralization, which is that, so you're a TV network that is going to host content in a decentralized manner to spread all it on the IP using IPFS and blockchain to host that network and distribute that network. However, as a TV network yourself, aren't you then a centralized gateway? You yourself.
Yeah. So we make it decentralized for our users, and also from the process of content partners. From again, something we haven't mentioned, the issue that content partners have. That I have a film that I've spent $5 million on, and the truth is, my reliance is of putting it on a SVOD, subscription video on demand platform, or hoping that Netflix or Amazon Prime picks it up for pennies to literally pennies. That is my hope, and that process takes it could take months, it could take a quarter of the year minimum. We want to decentralize that process, which we have, in terms of days, and break down those barriers and the red tape that actually comes in that. But it is really important to understand that this is a 100+ year old industry that has got many regulations, many rules, and we have to make it decentralized as much as we can. Of course, it certainly isn't 100% decentralized from the way our network runs in terms of the way we do select content, but it is in terms of the accessibility for users, and it is in terms of the content partners taking their content and putting it through our network and through our process, from first hellos and how used to content being live and then earning money from it within days, within simple steps, and within no middlemen being in that process to hold and slow things down. So yeah, at the moment it's definitely not 100% decentralized, but of course this is something over the next couple of years we're trying to edge towards 100% decentralization. So that's our focus.
As the project has evolved, as many companies and businesses do, we just think of how YouTube evolved from a simple uploading platform to the behemoth that's part of Google and Alphabet right now. I get it. Then how are you going to commission all these films and programs? What connections do you have?
No, we have a model which and I just wanted to kind of even just touch on that just before we move on from decentralization. Look, we've been in crypto. We've both been in crypto for many years. The reality is there is hardly anything that is 100% decentralized. And it's really important that as we move to to full 3.0 accessibility for not even millions, billions of people around the world, it's important to create that transition that makes it easy for your auntie or your cousin who's never heard of crypto or never heard of blockchain to then jump on board and make it an easy experience for them as a first timer on blockchain. And that's something that we did want to make sure we focus on, rather than making it too complex and making it just for crypto lovers and those who have been in the space for many years. We want to open it up and make sure that we can pick up and we can connect with the random average person who may be watching TV every weekend and has never ever bought a coin or never ever bought or had any access to blockchain. But anyway, that was my answer from that side. I almost forgot what you said just now with this question.
How are you going to commission the programs? What are your connections?
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So yeah, we have a range of connections. This is one of the benefits of what I was doing within sports content in the past, and these with large organizations and studios. However, quite simply, we're commissioning it through being able to pay, right? So we have various different options available. We pay content partners minimum guarantees. We can pay them upfront for licensing. We can pay them through ad revenue, which is again something we haven't spoken about yet. We have monetization through ads on our platform as well. So we can range 3 or 4 different ways at core to our content partners on how they wish to be paid. And of course, that is entirely up to them. But generally speaking, commissioning and acquiring content or bringing them on board to Script Network is not a problem. And if anything, it's actually easier in terms of their wealth of options and the amount of money they can make in comparison to traditional media.
Right. Okay. And where are you getting this money from? I get the advertising revenue, but do you have venture capital?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, besides going through our rounds, which I know we're going to get to the tokenomics soon, we have 3 key monetization strategies through our platform and through our protocol. So one of which is, of course, through those staking through our protocol. So whether you're a Lightning node, a validator, or of course a script node, which is what the typical user would be from watching and consuming content and earning tokens. So that generation will be a method through our utility token in terms of being able to purchase and raise considerable and consistent investment to put into content. Of course, there'll be venture capitalists and ultimately going through our rounds, which of course we're doing as we speak. And then of course also from ad monetization, where we have non-skippable ads every 15 minutes for 2 minutes. And that's on every single channel. So that non-skippable ads across the network is also a key monetization strategy. And I say those are the 3 key. Of course, on top of those, we do have the added benefits of NFTs that we're going to be running live alongside the films or alongside the TV shows as well. So we wanted to ensure that from our business model, just like you've pretty much alluded to in the last 10 or 15 minutes, this is a large industry. This is an industry that you need millions at least, hundreds of millions, if not per year, to not only survive, but to compete with a lot of these large networks. And we understand that. And it's one of the reasons why we have multiple monetization strategies. And we're confident that within years to come, we're certainly going to be able to compete with a lot of these large studios and a lot of these large production houses and a lot of these large set-top boxes, as we mentioned earlier in the show. So that's kind of our focus, and we're super excited about that.
Right. Okay. Now, I want to move on to the tokenomics a little bit. So you've got your own blockchain. Can you tell us some of the features of your blockchain? Sure.
Yeah. So basically, from our blockchain, it's very similar to ETH. So it is very close to a fork in terms of some of the attributes of ETH POS, and we do have a model that, of course, does reward users as well as proposed block settlement as well through our voting mechanism and our voting procedure. We wanted to ensure that from our network, we wanted to actually focus on scalability. And I think we spoke about this earlier in the show, but talking about one of the reasons why we actually set up our own blockchain, it wasn't so much to have a standalone and a range of set features of blockchain that didn't exist on Polkadot or didn't exist on Ethereum or didn't exist on Lightning, but it was actually more for scale and also for the opportunity to build dApps on our blockchain and on our network without having the issues with transaction fees, without having issues with scale from a long-term perspective. So our features of our platform is very, very similar. Our features of our blockchain is very similar, should I say, to ETH. But of course, like I said, we do have our proposed block settlement procedure. We do have our protocol through validator networks, through our Lightning nodes and through our script nodes, which of course does ensure that users like you and I, but also those who are new to crypto, can of course earn through our staking mechanism, through our governance token to our utility token, which of course I know we're going to get to shortly with our two token model. So yeah, that was one of the key focuses that we wanted to do. But besides that, it is very similar from that perspective.
Okay, so it's like ETH, but not ETH.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Right. But you're going to be sending a lot of data across it. So what about issues of bloat, transaction fees, transaction times?
Yeah. So our transaction times, so in terms of comparison to a lot of other chains at the moment, our transaction times and our transaction fees are next to nothing. It's certainly in the mid-tier at the moment. With the testing that we're doing at the moment, we've not mined, of course, Genesis block yet. So this is based on testing. We don't have any issues with that. We haven't proposed any issues when we have done scale on testing as we have at the moment. But of course, that is something that we are wary of as we scale. But it's also one of the reasons why we do have a two token model. It is one of the reasons why we will ensure through our governance token and through our utility token that we can, of course, bring an opportunity to users that isn't going to have those problems that many other chains, just being quite general and brief, is having at the moment. So that's kind of our focus. But of course, I'm speaking at the moment from a testing perspective. We do know there's going to be potential issues and kinks, but we're excited that that's going to definitely just catapult us forward and help us grow even faster.
Sure. And I've seen that, what you're saying is that your platform won't have any lagging or buffering issues.
No, not at all. So that we have zero lagging, zero buffering issues. That literally, from a perspective of course, us testing at the moment, we wanted to ensure that this is not a platform or a product that is built for 2,000 users to watch, or for 2,000 transactions, or to happen on chain every day. This is built to have millions of both every single day. And of course, we do not expect that to have that at the beginning, but it's built to scale and it's built to last from that perspective. And so is our tokenomics model as well, which is the reason why we have a two token model from that perspective.
We will come to that, right? But how you said earlier that this is easy for people who are not crypto savvy. They don't need to think about it. How easy is the wallet?
Great question.
How easy is it to set up and?
Completely easy. It literally takes three minutes, if not less. I should say 3 minutes. Should probably take 30 seconds. But even 3 minutes if you're new to crypto. We have a step-by-step model method, which literally, even if you've never ever bought a coin in your life, you'll still be able to do it within minutes with ease. We've tested it with people who literally have never bought a coin before, and taken them through the process, or they've taken themselves through the process, and they've been able to do it within minutes. We wanted to simplify it, and just like I am on this call, I'm purposely trying to simplify things as much as possible, because our market, funny enough, is not. I don't want to say it's not crypto lovers and people who are in crypto, but we, one of our key goals is to bring a significant 98% of the world that has never touched crypto, which, by the way, we're still in 2021.
The no coiners.
No coiners. I wanted to, you know what? I wanted to avoid saying no coiners.
I've said it.
Yeah. All right, no coiners.
I get it because that's where the expansion is. That's where the
absolutely.
where the growth is.
Yeah, I mean, look, a good example of it. A good example is it. Again, for those who know, who's listening, there's NBA Top Shot, for example, in the NFT space. If you go onto their website, you'll realize that they don't even mention blockchain. They don't mention the word crypto. You won't be able to find it unless you go into their documents. They purposely made it so it's so easy. It looks like it's a traditional company. The on and off ramping is within their own on their own chain, within their own platform, just like how it will be with Script. You won't have to on and off. You won't have to on ramp on an exchange and then transfer and then wait for it to clear and then do it. We have that all on our own network. So people will be able to literally just pick up, go onto our website. If they want to purchase an NFT, they can. They can on and off ramp from our platform completely. If they wanted to just simply view and watch content within seconds, not minutes, within seconds from going on the platform, they can do that. They wanted to earn, they can set up a wallet and literally earn tokens within seconds. And all of these things we wanted to ensure were not only is done in seconds, but it's explained simply. So a common man or a common woman can just literally go on a website and understand it like it's Sky, like it's BT, like it's TiVo, like it's Virgin, whichever. So that's really, really important to us.
Okay, good. Well, then let's get onto the tokenomics, right? So you got a utility token and a governance token. It's an ERC20 token, but you are going to do a one-to-one swap later on down the line, a few months down the line when you do the blockchain. So how does the tokenomics work?
Well, I mean, we'll start with Script token, which is SCPT. This is the token that we would launch with. So the utility token would not have launched at the beginning. The utility token will launch once we do the swap over to our own chain. Of course, just for clarity, which I'm sure most people who's listening would know, the reason why we're launching it on ERC first is actually not because our chain is not ready. Our chain is ready, but it's simply for accessibility and scale. Of course, if we launched on our own chain, then it will make it very difficult for accessibility. And as I've been pretty much saying all show, that's important to us, accessibility. So, long story short, so of course, there's 1 billion Script tokens, SCPT. That is what people will be able to purchase through our round that we're currently in. And also, of course, once we launch as well on Uniswap, because it is, like you said, the ERC token. We will then actually reward early adopters and owners of SCPT tokens and airdrop SPay tokens to SCPT owners. So long story short, if you own our governance token, you will get our utility token airdrop to you. And that will be within the first quarter of our launch. And from that perspective, of course, our SPay token is our utility token, which is used for transactions. It's used for payments. It's used for swaps through one of our models that we have, which we've not spoken about, whereby users can actually take SPay tokens that they've generated and through rewards, and they can actually swap it for free cinema tickets for other real world products through our swap model and through our partners that we would have to do. So we really wanted to create that shift of, okay, look, you have a lot of crypto, or you've made rewards through staking or through DeFi, like millions have done, but what can you do with that besides taking it to an exchange and converting it back to fiat and using it? What can you do and create real world changes in your life? So we wanted to create a model whereby people can actually swap and create those benefits for them. But yeah, long story short, SCPT, which is our governance token, has 1 billion supply, and our SPay token has 5 billion supply. Of course, a lot more, but of course, it's for the transactions, it's for payments, it's for rewards. That's the whole point of that token.
Right. Okay. Now you said the token raise is happening now, or it's about to start.
Yeah, it's happening now. We're currently in round one as we speak. So yeah, it's currently in round one at the moment. But yeah, we're actually.
When does the token raise end? When does the token?
Well, our aim is for it to end just in about 8 to 9 weeks from now. That's our almost like our deadline. Of course, it could be a lot sooner. And we do expect it to be sooner, but we're just setting more boundaries and expectations in terms of deadlines and where we're looking to go into the final quarter. and launching our platform. Because again, something I just wanted to also point out here, even though we're raising and we're going through these traditional rounds, this isn't a typical process where, you'd raise and then we build, and then it will take 3 to 4 months to build. And there's that gap for investors where, you've just bought in, maybe you bought in at you bought in for a launch pad, or you bought in through, whitelist round, etc. And then there's that 3 or 4 month gap, at least. Sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 3 years, to be quite honest. There's that gap where nothing is happening. It's just that white noise space. And actually, to be honest, we actually have spent most of this year building, and we're about 95% built. So if someone wants to say to us, launch your platform next week, we can launch it next week. So
right.
we've actually created and cut off that gap, and we've invested our own money to show our commitment to this, not only to this chain, but to our platform and to our network. That not only once have we finished our raise, we have a ton of rewards and benefits through airdrops, etc. But actually, we're going to be able to launch our platform within weeks of that sale ending. So that's one of the key things we wanted to focus on. And of course, the rest of the raise is predominantly on, just like what you mentioned earlier in the show, tackling this giant industry that we're currently in.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're recording this for people who are watching this. We're recording this on Saturday, August the 7th. So when it goes out, just be mindful of that some of the timelines will have changed and everything. And I'll have all the links in the description below for people, for the website and the Telegram group, for people to go check it out for themselves. Now, the tokenomics, how are the tokens going to circulate between the users and the content creators and the project?
Okay, so do you mean the breakdown?
Yeah.
I
got this token. I'm watching a program on Script TV. I earn tokens. I can stake the tokens. I can swap them for other things. But what else happens with the tokens? What gets them to move around?
Well, when you mean get them to move around, do you mean
the content creators get paid in the tokens? What's going to give the tokens any sort of value?
Oh, okay, I understand. Okay, well, I think for our model, we've got many different answers to that, to be honest. But solely, if we want to just go with our SPay token and go with that, it's predominantly a payment token. So if you mean what's generating the value with the SPay token, it's ultimately from the fact that users will be able to buy and sell NFTs with our SPay token. So they'll be able to, of course, use an SPay token to receive funds within. And also, of course, they can sell their NFTs through that as well, through our marketplace that will be built on top of our network, as we mentioned. But alongside that, of course, the value play is that we want to ensure that users can, when they collect SPay tokens through rewards, whether it's through content partners or through users, their instant thought is not to convert it back to fiat or convert it onto another coin. So we want to reward those who actually have larger amounts of SPay tokens, just like large amounts of SCPT tokens through the staking mechanism. And ultimately, our benefit or the users' benefit of holding more SPay tokens is that they get more rewards. There's going to be reward challenges. There's going to be tiers that if you have a number or a certain amount of SPay tokens, you'll have more rewards, more access to other giveaways, other opportunities. And ultimately, from that method, we want to ensure that not only is it a payment transaction token, but it's actually a token that can actually be held and stored, and of course be of some benefit to those users who are collecting it on a day-to-day basis. And that's the SPay side. Of course, from the Script side, of course, as a governance token, not only does it act as a benefit from a staking mechanism model, because for clarity, you can only stake SCPT tokens, you can't stake SPay tokens. But of course, the benefit is our voting procedure as well. And it gives, of course, an opportunity for users through our DAO that we'll be building, that they can, of course, have a say in a lot of the project features that we'll be rolling out in 2022. And also an opportunity for them to actually own certain pieces of content. I'm being very general here, but certain films, certain TV shows, certain larger productions, certain large NFT collections that they're going to be able to own a piece of, from actually owning a significant amount of SCPT tokens as well. So we want to ensure that it's a lot more than, hey, let's collect and let's, let this 10x or 20x and then I want to sell, or let me get this as a reward and let me swap it back to BTC or Ethereum. What's the benefit for those people to hold on to it for longer? And it's one of the things that we wanted to ensure that we instilled and brought through our network, that of course rewards people that ultimately holds on for longer and accumulates.
Okay, now that's very interesting. Now, using the NFTs as an example, so there's some superstar on somebody I consider to be a superstar on your channel, and they release an NFT, and of course I want to buy the NFT, so then I use the SPay tokens to buy the NFT, right? Because that's
exactly. Yeah.
Then what does the superstar or the film production company, what can they do with those tokens?
Well, they have an option. They can either hold on to it if they want to and still earn rewards just like a user can, or they can swap it back to SCPT tokens, which they can all do on chain within our platform. They don't have to go anywhere else. Or of course they can do whichever they, as they would with any other token, which is, maybe store it they could store it in a cold wallet. They can swap it for another coin if they wished. But of course, from that perspective, that's of course based on the target and the goal of that person and what they wanted to do, or that company and what they wanted to do. I think just something to note, even just when you mentioned about the NFTs, one of the things that makes our NFT experience slightly different to many others is, and I think I've touched on it 2 or 3 times when I was talking about our NFT marketplace or buying and selling NFTs. There's probably about just under 30 production houses we're starting with, but of course, we expect in 2022 to be in the 300 plus different production houses or studios or small film companies that we're going to be working with. A lot of these companies don't have any exposure to crypto. They don't have the marketing budget in their business allocated to NFTs or selling content, but yet they have still such a loving audience of characters and people. So we want to be that gap that, hey, you're watching, again, I've been very general, you're watching, let's say, The Office, and there's 20 really, really popular characters or parts of the show that people love. They can actually then create a piece or a collection of NFTs, and actually that can be on our platform and on our network that can actually be bought and sold during that show being shown on our network. So we wanted to actually break down that barrier of the people who, again, even from the production side, we've spoken a lot about users, but we also want to help from the production houses side and the content creator side, content partner side of, hey, I want to get into crypto, but we have no exposure, we have no connections. We're like, look, we have the exposure, we have the connections, we have the platform. We can actually help you create this NFT collection and put it on our platform, and they can buy and sell it. So, of course, the reason why I explained all of this is one of the reasons why content partners will have benefit to be more invested into the SPay model and the SCPT model, rather than simply collecting, sending it to an exchange and transferring it to fiat as quick as possible. However, of course, there are going to be people who do that as a choice. Certainly those who come from a more traditional world, but that's part of just the ecosystem that every single chain has and every single business has.
Right. No, I can definitely get the whole advantage of the NFTs. When I was at university many years ago, I used to collect cinema posters. I have cinema posters from Repo Man and Subway.
You sound like a big fan.
Oh, I was programmer for the university cinema when I was at university.
Oh wow.
And I was really all the sort of cult movies at the time. I think I've got a Blues Brothers poster and stuff, right? So people, but I still have them physically, not as NFTs, and they still have emotional value, especially Repo Man. What a great film! But I can get how people would want to the digital equivalent of those for programs and films they like, and then that would be a way of raising revenue for the production companies and for those TV stars, and film stars, right?
Absolutely.
So this generate revenue. Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I mean, that's one of the things that, it's easy for us to, on the face of it, to sound like all we're doing is creating this so we improve the user experience. But actually, we're improving the content partner's experience massively. We want a content partner to wake up and say, hey, not only are we getting a ton of rewards here, and not only did we manage to get our new film or even our legacy film back out there to thousands or millions of others within days, hey, we can actually license our own NFT collection and simply have a platform that can already cross and indirectly promote it for us, and that can be used to generate more profit for them. So we want to create an environment that actually improves the entire ecosystem of the television and film network.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a lot of work, but it's definitely something that we are focusing really, really hard on.
Yeah, and well, the other thing that I hear in what you're saying is how it improves the whole network is by diversifying it. We could have a film director or a film star who wants to make a particular film that the production houses or the distribution companies are like, no, we don't want that sort of film. We think it's not too controversial. It's not mainstream enough. No one's going to turn up and watch it. We'll say, okay, well, we'll fund it through our own NFT. We've got this actor who's interested in this. She or he will sell their NFT, and that'll fund the film. Absolutely,
and look, that's what's happening right now. I mean, in the last couple of weeks, Anthony Hopkins and Akeem Ojuko have literally just done that. Yeah, as mentioned before, so they've literally just done that, and this is something that is a positive for our industry. So when we saw that, we were delighted, because that's the sort of thing that's now going to wake studios up, up production companies that, hey, we can actually fund through here rather than going to speak to investors for 3 or 4 months and hoping that they take on our film or invest in our film. And we know that's a challenge for the industry, because we've been listening to the industry for most of this year as well as last year as well. We've been understanding the problems, and we know 100% that's an issue, not just for the little guy, not just for the guy who's making 2 or 3 films a decade, but actually for those who are also larger platforms. They have to put in £4 to £5 million up front, if not more. I mean, I was speaking to someone yesterday who had created a film, cost it's a $60 million budget, but they do that before earning anything, and it's a massive risk for studios and production houses. So what if they can break that barrier down, sell a collection on the run up to a launch, and actually have it premiered on our platform and on our network for a number of weeks? So that is really just kind of completely shifting and changing that whole mindset of the way the process works from a content partner's perspective, and obviously from a user's perspective as well.
Yeah, no, that's very, very interesting. And I would say that what Bitcoin represents is the digital decentralization of money, and then all the Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and Monero and Pirate Chain out of that, right? Okay, Akeem, I'm going to have all the links in the description below for people to go and find out and investigate. I suspect there's a whole lot more depth to this project than we haven't even touched upon, because what we're talking about is human self-expression, and that has a lot of depth. So, is there anything else you want to let us know that before we finish up? Anything we haven't covered that you think's important?
Well, no. I think you've just summed it up from the first part of your question. I think there is a ton of depth into this, and what we've done today is simplify it as much as possible. So as we keep saying, the no coiners, or the normies, as everyone calls them, would of course be able to have full accessibility and understanding of it. But of course, for anyone who wanted to understand a little bit more about the platform, and obviously what we do and what we're looking to do, of course, go onto our website. Feel free to jump in our Telegram and Discord, which is growing. Ask us a question. The team is pretty much online 24/7. And of course, at whatever time you're looking at this, it obviously depends on where we're going to be in terms of our process. But we're always going to be available, so do check us out, and definitely look into our white paper in full detail when you get a chance.
Sure, absolutely. So do check this out, do look at it, because the other thing that I heard in all of this is the incredible opportunity that cryptocurrencies are, because we are still at the very, very beginning of mass adoption, and this looks like a great project to ride that wave. If you have any comments or questions, let me know in the description below. I'll have all the relevant links. Akeem, thank you so much. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto Akeem signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.